Hi, my name is Ellie. Welcome to my channel. Yes, we have extra lighting because the sun is going down and it's overcast. And I actually did 2 videos. This is second video. Obviously, first video is get ready with me because that's all I've been doing with my videos is putting makeup on my face and rambling at you, and that's all I really want to do. Put makeup on my face and ramble. But today I want to talk about I have a lot of makeup. I do. I have a big ass collection. Most of it is eyeshadow. And that is like the smallest portion of my face to use things. Even at least with like lipstick, you're putting it over the whole surface area, whereas eyeshadow is like a couple things trying to share the same space. So we've talked about bronzers, blushes, highlights, and I've been talking about my eyeshadow collection in sections. Which is hard, because I have a big-ass eyeshadow collection, and I apparently have no intention of stopping. It's my favorite thing to buy. It's what is most interesting to me when people are releasing new ones. It's my most interesting thing to play with. Like, blush is nice, highlighter's nice, but normally I pick them in relation to framing eyeshadow. Lipstick is nice, but I pick it in relation to how I'm framing my eye look. Every time. So, I picked some palettes that if I had a smaller makeup collection and could really dig in and like properly pan a palette, the ones I would pair together for panning. So, if I somehow had way less makeup and wasn't skipping between palettes a palette a day, these are the ones I would probably quite happily sit down, pull these two out, make look after look after look with these palettes until they died. And I feel like I would have a good variety of looks or a good variety of colors and depths to make good looks out of. So, this is when I make like this pale pastel frosty bitch. Is what happens when I make a one palette look out of one that I have a pair for. So, first set of palettes I would pair together. The Tarte Make Believe in Yourself palette, which is what's on my eyes, and I would pair it with the Urban Decay Urban Spectrum palette. So, let's open them up. Frosty. Muted colors, only one matte. We would need a matte anyway. But, since I want to pair it with another full shimmer palette, if I was panning these and I had a more limited color story, once this very light neutral matte, which is in my crease but honestly doesn't look like anything, once that was gone, I'd probably just use bronzer. I'd pick a mid-tone brown, I would throw it on my lid and would be fine. But both of these are reflective packaging, so it's great. Everything's great. I think these would pair well together. This is hard to get. There we go. That's kind of an angle. As you can see, these ones are predominantly mid to light, very, very light, shimmery, whereas these are medium to deep. I think these would pair well together. Like, some of the darker shadows here might work as one or single shadow looks, like this brown could deepen some stuff up, but not very much. And we've got some browns over here anyway, so dark brown, medium brown, goldy brown. But these blues and purples and medium to deep greens I think would pair really well with these because these are medium to light blues and purples and mints and little iridescent ones. So these two would make a lot of really fun, colorful but muted, properly deepened looks. So that's my first pair. And technically, I've been casually panning pieces of that. When I say that, I mean honestly, I've mainly just been using the navy blue. Let's talk about evidence. As you can see, it's really, really nice. These are some of the colors, if you don't know how to pair more colors in, if you're just using like browns and golds, pull a dark blue, pull a dark purple, maybe a deeper green, Honestly, deep end is really, really nice to put on stuff and add some color without being too bright. But yeah, a navy blue in the outer corner goes with most stuff. The more I do my makeup, the more I'm realizing that I think purple might be my favorite color for makeup. I like purple and green, I like purple and orange, I like purple and blue, I like purple and yellow, purple and reds. They're really nice. Purple and pink, generally a little closer. Which leads into my next pair. The Gemini palette and the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. So, these are ones I think I can hold together if I'm careful. Because we got, again, reflective packaging. We don't have that in here, so. Oh, this is gonna be horrible. No, this is not good. This is not good. Let's just flip them over and have them open. Oh, you don't like that, do you? Oh, this is gonna be horrible. I'm gonna stick a finger in something. So, swampy greens and nudes, purples and a little orange and nudes. The main reason I like to use these together and would probably pan them together is because I do use these a lot. I really like these swampy greens and this metallic swampy green. This side. I go for this side. This side is nice. This shimmer doesn't work with me. Gemini doesn't work very well for me. But again, these are nice. They're just not super... They don't spark my interest. They're nudes. They're warm nudes. But I like to take those swampy greens and I like to mix them with this really gorgeous purple. And often the two shimmery purples. I've put the orange in there. I've mixed the gold and then framed it with that, like, these berry tones plus that swampy green. Oh, I make so many looks. I've made so many looks that I love out of that and that I think benefit from it. I think, like, we could also... I was a little obsessed. So I went a lot with Ladyship and Noblewoman and Queen Mother in the outer half, kind of then blended into like the swampy green and then the shimmery swampy green on my lid. I could look at the names right there. I'm not going to. I'm sorry. I've also then placed those together with like Your Majesty. Something about deeper berry purples and muddy swampy greens just is my favorite. It was the type of thing where, like, I would be making a look on a weekend and be like, oh, this is my fun time, this is my, like, use as much of my collection as possible, and I would only really want to do that one look. I would wear it a couple times in a row, which I don't do very often. And I love it. And I think both of these have really good formulas. They blend really well together, they layer really well together, and just swampy green and berry purple was my favorite. And I would like to see how some of the other things would work in, like trying some of like the more mauve purples with the darker greens. I would have a lot of fun playing with these, and I don't think I would be bored for a very long time. I'd be happy with those. A bit more of a give and take. This is the Viseart Dark Matte. I think this gives me a lot of room to play with these shimmer shades. These are all duochromes in varying levels of depth, so you have a lot of ones you can kind of pair together. You can have the lights and the darks. I've got a couple like one lid shade looks, and they're the kind of thing that you could add some of the more browny tones as a neutral crease, or you could blend out some of like the deeper blues and greens to make a more grungy look with a little bit of color. I think, this is the Neve Cosmetics Duochrome palette, in case I entirely forgot to say that, which I know I just did. These two, I would have a lot of fun together, and I think they'd be great. I really need to just start pairing some of these together and making more looks. They're so pretty. So pretty. And this is another one that I'm like, I've had this for a long time. These are huge fucking pans, and they're shadows I love. If I did not have so much fucking makeup to go through, I would be panning this. I would be panning this, I'd be wearing gorgeous duochrome looks all the time, and I would be dressing it up and dressing it down with the dark mattes. Next pair is Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance and Too Faced Chocolate Gold. This is a little more hit and miss. I haven't paired these together, but I kind of really want to. I like this palette for the mattes. The shimmers in here, there's, what, 2 or 3 of them? Honestly, really kind of 2. And the brown is just, it's a shimmery, satiny bronze. These 2 are inner corner highlights on the best days for me, but most of my enjoyment of this has been making matte framing for other colors. So mixing these to make a nice kind of, you know, muted berry crease and then putting a different shimmer on it. I've pulled Real Color into a lot of stuff. I've used these to make, these are surprisingly mustardy tones, which I really, really like when I play with them. I would love to use this to frame the really, really pretty shimmers in here. I'm sorry, that's also... Why do people keep making such reflective packaging for makeup? It's really hard to see the colors, and that's actually probably part of it, that it's hard to see the colors and take photographs of the colors when you're so distracted by how shimmery and reflective the backing is. But these are really, really nice mattes. There's a nice variety of, you know, cool tones to warm tones to grunge tones to neutral. And this one just has so many different... I can't do this in a way that makes sense to you. So, there are a small little corner of mattes, and these are some of the most boring mattes in the world because they're just to accentuate the shimmers. So I think they work, they're nice. It is, you know, just a really neutral, boring crease over here. And then you're having most of your fun with the shimmer shades, with the variety of gold tones from cool gold to warm gold to kind of bold gold. The greens are nice. You have a nice, really, really nice, like, dark olive green to a really, like, green. The pink and the purple work really well together. You've got light tones, you've got dark tones, you've got a little bit of color, and I think the colors and the looks you could make with this and with the Modern Renaissance would be really interesting, and I love... For all of these are formulas that I really like. These are things I would be happy to use day in, day out. Find a handful of looks that I could easily make and then still have enough room to play that I would make more creative looks as well. There's nothing in here that I would dread panning when paired together. Last little pair of things I've actually used quite a few times together. My Natasha Denona Lila palette and Sugar Pill Fun Size palette. So, when I originally got this, I was super excited for Dragon Bite, which is honestly the only one I know the name of. The more I used it, I got around to getting to know the mattes, but they're not the best way I would frame these colors. Because you have these are huge pans. So much hot pink, so much berry purple, so much fun purple, and then this gold and this like Cyclone is that lovely peach to orange to something duochrome. There's a lot happening here, and I feel like it's very pretty on its own, but when you bring in some colors, using stuff like Player One and Level Up to frame these and kind of draw more attention to the bright tones in this palette has made some really gorgeous looks. Even just doing a purple crease and popping it out with, you know, the berry and the darker ones. I've made a lot of fun looks by pairing these together, and once I started getting through using these, the more and more I was tempted to use them with these shimmers, and they were so pretty. They were so pretty. All of my videos about pairing them together failed horribly, but they were such a nice pairing. They were so pretty. And this is something that I, at some point, need to pan anyway, because it's going to get old, and it is gorgeous, and I want to get a good value for the fact that this was my first big, expensive palette, and it is such a pretty, pretty, pretty pair of colors. Natasha Denona gets a lot of my love because of the way her color stories just keep interesting me the more I play with them. It's so nice. Like, it's really hard to find a look in here that doesn't, like, one of the shadows that doesn't pair with, like, several of them. This purple I've used with all of them, pretty much. It works with the gold, it works with the peach, it works with the lilac. They all work so well together. But they work a little better when you frame them with a colorful crease, or really draw out some of the colors in there with that crease. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty together. So pretty together. And that's a lot of what I wanted to do with this palette when I got it, was use it to frame other shadows. I was not expecting to make a lot of standalone looks out of this palette. You can. It's harder, especially if you're not used to using all matte looks, but you can do it. But I like it best framing other looks. So, if I had significantly less makeup and some of these pairs or just one of these pairs, that's what I would be panning, and that's how I would pair them. Hopefully that helps. Or just gives you an insight to how my brain works. Maybe we'll do some of this. I kind of want to do sister palettes soon. Because that's not, like, unless I'm sitting down and filming for you guys, I don't normally do one palette looks unless the palette's new. Unless I have a specific look from looking in the palette and really wanting just out of that one palette. I mix and match a lot more than I do when I'm filming for you guys. Because in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll use this as a way to just do, like, a review. A quick review. But that's not how most people do their makeup. Most people skip between palettes. Most people open up multiple things. Most people see something and say, okay, I want 2 or 3 from this palette and 2 from this palette, and together they're going to make what's in my head. The color, story, and picture and look that's in my head. And so I want to do that. I want to use some of these stuff where it's not going to be the same as, like, you know, pulling a thing and making a whole look out of that, but it's how my brain would function. Because I can make single looks out of all these palettes, but I think I can make better looks by mixing them together. I'm going to go and let you guys get back to hanging out. I will see you later, and hopefully we'll do some sister palette looks coming up. Bye.